watching NRATV. And now, We Stand with Dan Bongino.
All right, welcome back to We Stand with Dan Bongino. I have a stacked show today. I've been getting a ton of emails about this show and my podcast saying, Dan, we love it, but you got to put some kind of chart together for us. We don't get it. All these players, the swamp, everybody seemingly involved in this tangled web. So producer Denise, Patrick, and the excellent staff there helped me all day. We've been at it all day. I even skipped the gym for you guys today. That's how much I love you. That's a lot. To do this show and put this together. I never skip the gym. And I cut myself shaving before I come on here. Can you see that? Nasty. He's right there. Bad one. I thought I needed like medical attention. I was bleeding so much. I was rushing to get in here. All right. No more messing around. First, breaking news, because I don't want you to have to go anywhere else for breaking news. Two big stories just broke right before we came on the air. Of course, we didn't plan this, but related to the topic today, which is going to be exposing the swamp. Story number one, Andy McCabe, the number two in the FBI. As I said, for those of you who've been watching this show and listening to me on my podcast, take it easy on Sessions. Things are happening behind the scenes, and here we go. Listen, you take whatever opinion you want about Attorney General Jeff Sessions. I don't know him personally. I'm not defending anyone. I'm just saying I know there are things going on behind the scenes, and here it is, exhibit number one. The Justice Department watchdog, in other words, the IG, the Internal Affairs agent for the government, investigating this entire debacle with the FBI, the DOJ, the Obamas, the Clintons, Hillary Gate, FISA Gate, all of it, sent a criminal referral on Andy McCabe to the U.S. Attorney. This did not just fall from the sky. There is credible work going on behind the scenes to really get to the bottom of what happened at the FBI and the Department of Justice during the spying operation on Trump, the Hillary email scandal, all of it. They sent a criminal referral. Think about what I just told you, that headline. A criminal referral for the number two guy at the FBI who was terminated. Big deal. All right, breaking news, story number two. Apparently, the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, who is in charge of the Trump-Russia X-Files conspiracy theory investigation, because Jeff Sessions recused himself, told Trump he is not the target of the investigation, of the Cohen investigation. The Cohen investigation, which we're going to get to in our Exposing the Swamp thing shortly, Cohen is Trump's lawyer. His lawyer's office was raided. Trump's personal attorney, what I think is an abomination of justice, by the way. But Rosenstein apparently told Trump he is not a target of the Cohen investigation. This came out today. I'm very skeptical about that. And this next portion of the show, I'm going to lay out for you why I'm skeptical about anything emanating from the Mueller probe or Rosenstein. I don't trust either one of them. And now for, I'm super stoked about this, Exposing the Swamp. All right. I saw something this morning from a congressman I have a lot of respect for, Mark Meadows from North Carolina. He's terrific. I saw a piece of video, and it got me thinking. I have been saying to you on this show for the last couple of days as part of these segments that I believe strongly this probe into Donald Trump is nothing more than a smokescreen to keep your attention on Trump and away from what happened during the Clinton and the Obama years, when they were in the White House and Secretary of State position. I've been telling you this all along. Now, I believe the Department of Justice under Loretta Lynch, Obama's Attorney General, has a lot of explaining to do too. Watch this sound and video clip of Mark Meadows and listen to what he says. He mentioned something about some emails. Your antenna should be going beep, 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 beep. Right up. Listen to this.
It's interesting that they would go back and forth saying that the timing looks awful, but there's even another email from the Department of Justice that would indicate that on how to articulate the exoneration of Hillary Clinton. And so as you go further from another source other than Peter Strzok and Lisa Page within the Department of Justice, we now know that the edits, that they had given edits to Director Comey, or at least the emails would suggest that. And so as we're looking at this, we've got Director Comey out there saying, well, I was a Boy Scout, I was above reproach. Now we have evidence that would suggest that that's not accurate, so we have to look at it further.
So, Congressman Mark Meadows, who has access to information all of us don't have, apparently has seen some emails indicating that the Department of Justice was eager to make the Hillary Clinton email investigation go away. Now, again, I played that because my assertion to you, my operating theory on this the entire time based on a good body of evidence and the appointments made by Bob Mueller, has been that the Bob Mueller probe into Trump is really an effort to make the Clinton investigation go away again and to keep the Trump team from looking at it because Mueller's investigating Trump. Now, I'm going to put together, look at me taking credit for the production staff. I did this all by myself. Denise and Patrick had nothing to do with it. I'm just kidding. They are great. We put together this little chart for you. I'm going to walk through. I'm going to show you how these people, how they're covering up this Clinton operation by targeting people and their connections to Trump. Put up our first name here. All right, there he is, our buddy Victor Pinchuk. Now, Victor Pinchuk, this is critical. Pinchuk is interesting here, and I'll get to this at the end, but I got to tease it a bit in the beginning, because the special counsel probe under Mueller is looking into Pinchuk and a donation he made to the Trump Foundation. So you may say to yourself, they're investigating Pinchuk's relationship to the Trump Foundation. Why would that be? Again, this is one of those, look, shiny red object moments where they focus on a guy and a donation to the Trump team, ignoring everything and all of his connections to there's Pinchuk right there, to the Obama and the Clinton team. Go back to the chart, put up element 2 on the chart there. Pinchuk has an interesting connection to the Atlantic Council. What is the Atlantic Council? It's a think tank. Now, think tanks have become the subject of some controversy in D.C., not all, but some of them, because a lot of foreign governments and wealthy people overseas have been donating money to some of these think tanks, including the Atlantic Council, while these think tanks lobby members of Congress, the White House, and other politicos on decisions that would affect those said foreign governments. Think about what I just told you. Foreign governments and wealthy foreigners like Victor Pinchuk, who's Ukrainian, have been donating money to think tanks while think tanks lobby the U.S. government on policies that would affect the same government that gave the think tank money. Pinchuk's a wealthy Ukrainian. Pinchuk has donated a significant amount of money to the Atlantic Council. The Atlantic Council, again, is a think tank. Stay with me. Don't let me lose you here. Put up the next element of that chart there. Burisma. There we go. What's Burisma? That's not some exotic new drug that you smoke or anything. Burisma is a Ukrainian gas company. Ukrainian gas company that made some interesting hires on a board not very long ago. Now, I'll get to those hires in a minute. But before we talk about the Atlantic Council and their relationship to Burisma, put up that element about the Atlantic Council and a recent announcement they made about their relationship with Burisma. Oh, look, there it is. The Atlantic Council, a think tank funded in large part by a Ukrainian wealthy guy, Pinchuk, just signed a cooperation agreement with Burisma, which is a natural gas company in Ukraine. All right? So Pinchuk gives money to the Atlantic Council, a think tank, that signs a cooperation agreement with Burisma. Now, a few years earlier, Burisma bought a couple of interesting players onto their staff. Matter of fact, on their board. Who are those two players? Put up element 4 of our chart here. This chart's priceless. You need visuals sometimes, don't you? Oh, there we go. Hunter Biden and Devin Archer. Now, Hunter Biden, you may be able to figure that out rather quickly. Burisma hires Joe Biden's son, Hunter. No, I'm not making this up. And a guy named Devin Archer. Now, who's Devin Archer? Again, we know who Hunter Biden is. So Hunter Biden and Devin Archer are working for a Ukrainian natural gas company now on their board, right? That natural gas company is partnered with a think tank being funded by a wealthy guy who they're investigating for his connections to Trump? Does this make any sense to you? It will in a minute. Put up that Wall Street Journal headline about Archer and Biden. This is from a few years back. Let's play connect the dots here. I love this stuff. My old federal investigator skills coming back to me. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Biden's son and Kerry family friend joined the Ukrainian gas company. Now, who was Devon Archer, you ask? This is who Devon Archer is. In addition to being Mr. Hines' college roommate, that's John Kerry's stepson, Hines. College roommate at Yale, Mr. Archer was involved with Mr. Kerry's presidential campaign in 2004 and co-chaired his National Finance Committee. Wow, wait, according to his biography, he serves as a trustee of the Hines office, which manages the family business. And he gets a great job with a Ukrainian gas company that partners up with a left-wing think tank that's being funded by a Ukrainian billionaire. Fascinating how all this stuff works, isn't it? Go back to the chart. Here's where this gets even more interesting. Folks, this is all I do all day. I have no life whatsoever. No, I'm serious. Like, I'm writing a book on this. This is all I do. I'm so fascinated by this case, how they set up Donald Trump, and so many people have been suckered by it. The Atlantic Council. Who's also a member of the Atlantic Council? Another name you may be hearing for the first time, a guy named Dmitry Alperovitch. Now, put up that screenshot of Dmitry Alperovitch. Let's see what he does. Dmitry Alperovitch is also a member of the Atlantic Council. There he is, right there. Non-resident senior fellow, Cyber Statecraft Initiative. Wow, that sounds really fancy. Dmitry Alperovitch also functions as a CTO, Chief Technology Officer, of a company called... Wait, let me leave you in suspense for a minute. Go back to the chart. What would the company call... But what's their name? The company Alperovitch is involved in is a CTO. Oh, there we go. CrowdStrike. Now, some of you may be saying CrowdStrike, CrowdStrike. I've heard that before. So Alperovitch is a member of this think tank that's working with a natural gas company that hired Joe Biden's kid and John Kerry's stepson's buddy, who's also involved with the Kerry family business. So Alperovitch works at this think tank. And Alperovitch runs CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike. Where have I heard that before? CrowdStrike. Oh, yes, CrowdStrike. That's right. CrowdStrike was the company that the Democrat National Committee called in to look at their computers and do a forensic analysis on when they alleged they were hacked by the Russians. Put up our next element there so it all makes sense. Now, notice what I just told you. Alperovitch, who's, again, connected with the Atlantic Council, his company is brought in to analyze the DNC computers when they make these allegations that they were hacked by the Russians. They may have been, folks. I'm just telling you there is no federal law enforcement evidence right now that that happened. How can I tell you that? Because the federal government, the FBI, the Secret Service, and any entity that has purview over computer crimes never looked at the Democrat National Committee's computers. Oh, you didn't know that? The Democrats told them no. Instead, they brought in CrowdStrike, whose CTO is a guy who works on the same council, partnered with a company that hired Joe Biden's kid and John Kerry's stepson's buddy, who operates in his family business. My wife loves when I look around. You think I'm making any of this up? You think I'm making... You think I sit here all day and I just like fabricate an Adobe Photoshop headlines? Now, the Russia hack into the DNC computers. Again, let me be clear because I don't do conspiracy theory stuff. The Russians, they are not our friends. I am crystal clear on that. The Russians have probably tried to hack into every computer in the United States. I'm simply telling you that the Russian hacking the DNC story has never been fully confirmed by federal law enforcement because federal law enforcement has never looked at the computers. CrowdStrike did. They were the ones that said it was a Russia hack. Put up our next element here. This is where it gets really fascinating. The Russian hack story, folks, became a bedrock of Hillary Clinton's excuse for why she lost the election. We were hacked. Trump was working with the Russians. They were trying to get our information out there. Hillary Clinton's story, her entire Russian hack story, and this entire special counsel investigation. Please understand what I'm going to tell you. This is important. Rewind the episode and watch it twice if you have to. The Democrats' entire effort to take down the Trump presidency is based on this one bullet point right there, the Russia hack. If the Democrats' story about the Russians hacking the DNC is not true, do you realize their entire collusion fairy tale falls apart? Because the whole premise of their argument, folks, the entire premise of their argument is the Russians hacked the DNC, stole the emails, and colluded with the Trump campaign to embarrass the Clinton team and get those emails out there. That's the whole story. That is the 30,000-foot view of the people have heard collusion so much they don't even know what they're talking about sometimes. That is the collusion fairy tale. What's the problem with the fairy tale? The federal government has never been able to confirm that because CrowdStrike, run by Alperovitch, who works with a council, partnered up with a gas company that hired the vice president's kid, and people connected to John Kerry told them that the Russians did it. Told them, hey, the Russians hacked that. They may have. We don't know. Why do we not know? Because they still won't let the FBI in. No, I'm not kidding. They still will not let the FBI in to look at those computers. You know what? I said I wasn't going to use it, but if you can, put up that Cohen lawsuit headline, because this is interesting too, about the BuzzFeed thing. So Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, whose office was raided, that started this whole thing, and I haven't even connected him to Pinchuk yet. We'll get to that in a second. He had a lawsuit against BuzzFeed and against Fusion GPS for defamation. BuzzFeed, fascinatingly enough, to defend itself against multiple lawsuits because they published the fake dossier, has also demanded access to the DNC computers that Alperovich's company, CrowdStrike, says were hacked. Not the federal government. They're not saying that. Not based on any firsthand evidence, by the way. Cohen had a lawsuit against BuzzFeed. Awfully convenient that when Cohen's offices were raided, that BuzzFeed lawsuit would go away. Why? BuzzFeed was demanding access to those DNC computers too. Because BuzzFeed was trying to defend itself and say, hey, listen, what we reported on here about this hack, we need to see your computers to make sure they were hacked by the Russians so we can defend ourselves. All of a sudden, that lawsuit, one of them, goes away when Cohen's office is raided by the Mueller team. Go back to that chart. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Hillary Clinton is tied to Victor Pinchuk. How? Victor Pinchuk, who funds the Atlantic Council, that's partnered with a gas company, that hired Joe Biden's kid and John Kerry's buddy, that also has a guy on its tied to them who analyzed the DNC computers, that started the Russian hack narrative that Hillary Clinton uses. Hillary Clinton's foundation, the Clinton Foundation, excuse me, to be precise, the Clinton Foundation, took upwards of $25 million in donations from Victor Pinchuk. Now, interestingly, wow, that was perfect timing, Denise. You are so money. I didn't even have to call for that. She just threw that right up there. Here's a report by Sarah Westwood. Fascinating. Washington Examiner. Emails show Clinton denied, then met with Ukrainian donor. Who do you think that Ukrainian donor is? That she's now denying. Oh, I don't know this guy. I have nothing to do with him. Who do you think that is? Oh, Victor Pinchuk. Hillary Clinton running for the hills. Hey, I got nothing to do with this guy. Keep in mind, they have emails of her team, the Clinton team, inviting Pinchuk to a dinner at her house. Have you ever invited someone to dinner at your house you had absolutely no idea who they were? You make a habit of that. You go into like the local Publix down here where I am in Florida. Just go, hey, Daddy-O, you in the oranges section. You want to come over for dinner? Who are you? I don't know. Just come on over. Stop in. Bring the oranges. That ever happened to you? Fascinating that she invites Pinchuk over to dinner at her house. That's funny. I didn't even know we were on camera now. I'm like, itching my nose on the side. Then I just saw him. Like, you're still on camera. Victor Pinchuk, she invites him over to the house, and then she denies it. Why is she running from Victor Pinchuk? What is it about Victor Pinchuk that has everybody so terrified? What is it about Victor Pinchuk, put up that last element, that has the Mueller team investigating Pinchuk's ties to Trump? Folks, on a serious note, I know I can be sarcastic. It's, sorry. I'm not trying to do a shtick. It's just me. It's the Queens guy in me. I can't help it. On a very serious note, after what I just laid out to you, the potential conspiracy I just laid out to you to hide information, to hide relationships, to donate money, to get people to invent false narratives, don't you think the Mueller probe would be investigating Pinchuk's relationship to the Clintons? But at least according to what we know now, and believe me, I will come out and correct this, if Pinchuk and his relationship with the Clintons, if Mueller's focusing on this later, we haven't seen anything to indicate that, by the way. All we've seen is raids on the Trump team. I will happily put that out there. But we haven't seen any of that. Put up that piece about the raids on the Cohen team by Pinchuk. You know the one I'm talking about, I hope. If you don't know, well, I'll take full responsibility for that. But Mueller's team invading Trump's office for Pinchuk. I got my fingers crossed. Oh, nice. You guys are money. I love you guys in the studio. Mueller is investigating what? A $150,000 payment? That's got to be to the Clinton Foundation, no? No, it's not. It's to a Ukrainian oligarch. Who is that? Pinchuk, made to the Trump Foundation during the campaign. Wait, come again? Explain this. Guys, ladies, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not here for that. I spent 12 years as a federal agent investigating some really serious cases. One day, if we get a two-shot in here, I'll pan out to some of the... I had gotten like awards and stuff for the Department of Justice. I know nobody cares. I don't either. I'm just trying to establish mild bona fides here for a second. I am intimately familiar with how federal cases work. Are you telling me with what I just laid out to you, Pinchuk, Burisma, the Atlantic Council, Biden, Kerry, Clinton, CrowdStrike, Alperovich, the Clinton Russian hack narrative, we still can't confirm, that they're investigating a donation made to Trump? Folks, I mean, does the smokescreen narrative make sense now? They're investigating from what appears on its face, and granted, I'm not trying to pretend I have access to what Mueller does, but a six-figure speaking fee for Donald Trump to record a video for Pinchuk, I don't understand the illegality or the hint of illegality there. They're investigating Trump and his relationships to these people. I have been absolutely convinced by my investigation I've been conducting on my own here while writing this book. They're doing this to keep the attention off the tangled web the Clintons have involved themselves in. Folks, how else do you explain what I just told you? Where are the search warrants at Hillary Clinton's lawyer's office? Where are the search warrants for Hillary Clinton's bank records, the Clinton Foundation bank records? Where are all the search warrants for that? Keep in mind, I'm talking about the Mueller probe. If they are looking into that, then hat tip to you. And we will do a show on that as well. But I have seen only evidence thus far of Bob Mueller investigating people only mildly related to the Trump team who have intricate and detailed ties to very disturbing things that happened on the Clinton and Obama team. I have seen no evidence otherwise. Thank God we have an internal affairs IG investigation going on right now that may expose some of this stuff. Hey, put up that chart one last time, if you don't mind, before we wrap on this, because I do want to get to some other stuff before we turn it over to Dana. I just want to hammer this home. Mueller, his probe on Trump, they're investigating Pinchuk for a six-figure donation that appears on his face to be perfectly legal. That's the smokescreen. What are they covering for? Pinchuk finances the Atlantic Council, a think tank that partners up with a natural gas company that had hired Joe Biden's kid, that also hired John Kerry's buddy, Devin Archer. That Atlantic Council, they work with a guy, Alperovich, who runs a company called CrowdStrike that analyzed the DNC computers. They're the ones that started the whole Russian hack narrative that's never been confirmed by the FBI because they never looked at the computers. Hillary Clinton uses that narrative to attack Donald Trump, to advocate for a special counsel to investigate Trump, his relationship with Pinchuk, while Hillary denies any knowledge of Pinchuk and her relationship with him at this dinner date By the way, that's all on the record. You saw the reporting yourself, despite the fact that Pinchuk donated $25 million to the Clinton Foundation. There you go. Explain that to your liberal friends. How you like them apples? Totally stole that from Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting, who's a big gun grabber too, by the way. But that movie, before I started boycotting Hollywood, is actually pretty good. All right. I hope that made sense. If it didn't, tweet me. I'll try to explain. But that, you know, Denise and Patrick did a great job in the visuals. We have a quick update, though, before we leave you for tomorrow. We gave out a Kanky Award this week. You know the Cankys. It's the NRATV version of the Oscars, named after Kank from the Young Turks, the liberal show that attacks us at will, and we fight right back, so we named the show after him. Remember one of the Cankys we gave out to this Fresno State professor who attacked, in one of the most disgusting tweets I've seen in a long time, now deceased, and God rest her soul, Barbara Bush, saying she was generous and smart and an amazing racist who, along with her husband, raised a war criminal. That's the F word there, blanked out. Out of here with your nice words. What a disgrace. What a disgusting thing. Well, here's an update. First, she says, she taunts everybody, this Fresno State professor, apparently citing her tenure. Hey, I'll never be fired. Hold on, before you bring up the next one. You sure about that? You sure you want to be taunting people there? What's her name? Randy Jarrar, I think that was her name. I'm not sure that's such a good idea, Randy. Put up the next shot there. This is classic. No. About that, we already saw that one. She taunts us. We get that. What's the next one? There we go. Jarrar's on a leave of absence and will not be teaching any courses on campus this current semester, a university spokeswoman told the, Visalia Times Delta on Wednesday. Listen, I don't like Schadenfreude, but gosh, I got to tell you, this one feels a little good. So when we give out a Kanky, we haven't sent it to her yet. She hasn't got back to her with her address. Denise, you're cool with that, though, right? If she gets her ad, can we send her a little trophy or something? Like put a little thing on it, the Kanky? Go on, see? Denise is like, I'm all about it. If you send us your address, Randy, we'll send it out to you. She hasn't got her Kanky yet, but we even want to give you a little update. Randy's in a little bit of trouble. So, all right, I got to squeeze in this last story. See, you guys never thought I'd get to all this today. My wife's always like, how do you get all this into a 30-minute show? My final thoughts of the day. You know, this is a tough one for me because on this show and working here, I'm very sensitive, obviously, to the horror that happened in Parkland and to the kids. They're free to advocate for whatever they want. I celebrate their big R rights and I defend them, even when their rights conflict with mine. But folks, we can't ignore the obvious. Because you march for something and that march takes away the big R rights of others, we'll defend your right to the death to do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about free speech, but that doesn't mean you're going to win. People aren't going to give up their big R rights. They're certainly not going to give them up without a political fight themselves. And just to show you this, look at those poll numbers. These are the number of people who cite gun control as their top issue, down from 13% to 6%. Those poll numbers are moving in the opposite direction, folks. And the reason is, big R rights, we celebrate the whole spectrum, speech and everything else. Sadly, a lot of the people protesting are protesting against the big R Second Amendment rights of us, while we defend yours. We celebrate your right to speak out, but we'll always defend ours too. Hey, thanks again for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Please check us out on Twitter at NRATV, and there's my handle at Dan Bongino, and spread the word about the show. Stay tuned.